is very high, I'm going to tell you, you will pass out. And you're wearing a mask, and you are doing surgery, and you're talking, and so I started having hallucination. I was ready to pass out. I was actually hallucinating. And then I checked my oxygen level, he's in the 80s. And so I finished the surgery I actually had to put a mask on myself, and then I could finish the surgery. And then here I'm doing surgery in Ethiopia, and everything was okay, and the light goes out. You know, this stuff actually happened all the time in Asia too. It's called dirty electricity. So this electricity just wasn't reliable. So it would come on and off and on and off. You could ask your parents this, okay? And so when you're doing the surgery, same thing, the light goes out. So what you have to do is that you ask for a candle, but they don't have a candle. So we actually use our phone light. And back then we didn't have a good phone with a strong light. So you just basically do the surgery with pretty much in the dark. And I know, Dr. Wee, you could do this with your eyes closed. You could probably do cataract surgery with your eyes closed, but you know, it's still very, very difficult. Okay? And then when I was doing surgery, I felt a drop of water in my head. What do you think it was? I looked up, there was no roof. I thought there was a glass there. There was no glass. No glass. No glass. So it was raining. So we actually had to have an umbrella middle of the surgery. Yes. And then after a long day, you're exhausted, and then the next day, and then you're ready to eat. And many places around the world, you know, the food is very different. You guys are very, very lucky that Vietnamese food is very good. But as you travel, I know many of you love to travel, but one of the obstacles you will run into is the food. So many places, like, they love to give you a head of something. Like if you're important, they give you the fish head, or the chicken head, or you know, they fry something, and you don't even know what it is. And some places, they love monkey brain. Actually, certain places in China, they love monkey brain. I don't know why they love it so much. I can't eat it, so I'm like, now I'm hungry. I'm tired, jet lag. And then some places, like, they don't have water pressure. So when I first started, the water pressure was so low, you had to collect water overnight. And then you get a bucket of water next day, and then what you have to do is that you have to take a shower somehow. But before that, insects, they're mosquitoes and flies all night long.
Shower before you.
Well, remember, we don't have water. You have to collect water overnight. So in certain places in India, you know, they don't kill anything. You understand? And so there are insects everywhere. Everywhere. They're crawling on your bed. So you can't go to sleep. And then the next day, this is how you take a shower. You get naked and you just pour the bucket over you. And you're freezing, okay? And then you go to the bathroom, there's no toilet paper. This was true. This is true for Korea, true for Vietnam. Use leaves or all newspaper. You understand? I mean, this is just, it is what it is. And then you don't speak the language, and then, and this cycle all repeats itself. So burnout. I want to just talk about burnout. So, you know, a lot of these things are, you know, happen medical mission program, but some of these things actually happen in your daily life. Okay? So what I mean by that is that, so there are three main causes of physicians getting burned out. And medical mission program just exacerbated it. It just makes it happen quicker. But this is something that was happening in my normal life too. So number one is that there's more demand. Like you're expected to do more in a shorter amount of time. Okay? And number two is that you lose control. Like you just can't do anything. You don't feel like you're in control. Those are the two main causes actually. Okay? And the third, this is the most important. Once you start getting into fear, then game's over. Once you're getting scared of what you're doing, then you're losing focus, you're losing your meaning, and then you get more stressed, and then you start getting depersonalized, meaning you emotionally detach yourself. Okay. And then lastly, you become ineffective and inefficient. So now instead of you being more efficient and doing more things, you become less efficient. So everything just piles on. And that is the result of a lot of these burnouts. And it actually happens. And I'm going to tell you, I was in that same situation, and a few years ago, I was going to quit. I said, you know what? I had a great run. This was it. I'm just going to call it quits. And I've always wanted to own a restaurant. So I was going to set up I was going to be a waiter and own a restaurant. Honestly, okay? And I think I would have done very well because I could, I'm a natural salesman. I could sell anything. Okay? And then I got a letter from someone, and it was a patient. I'm going to just tell you, it was a patient that I actually did surgery years ago, and this was someone that I saw in Romania. So on the last day, when we were ready to pack and leave, and this person walked in and wanted to have eye surgery, and I said, we already packed. We got to go. And she said, this is she. Actually, I didn't even know it was a female. I wanted to get my eye surgery because I can't find jobs. And I said, why is your hair all short? And she had areas of alopecia, no hair. And then she said, I have 2 kids, and in order to support my 2 children, I have to go to my ex-husband to beg for money, and he physically abused me and pulls my hair. And then gives me money. You understand? So this was the last straw. This was her last hope. Before, she was going to give up. I could just see it on her face that there was no ounce of hope. Okay? So I'm just going to tell you, this is a little personal story, and I've actually seen this many times, but I actually grew up with a single mom, with younger brother and myself, just 3 of us. We actually lived in a place where we just had a water well. How many of you seen a water well? Yeah. So we just had a water well for our community. So one water well for the community, and we dug a hole in the ground and put a roof on top. That was my house. Our kitchen was mud. So this was a very difficult situation, and my mother, unfortunately, had an eye problem. She had a dacryostenosis with the dacryocystitis. Her eyes were constantly infected. So we took a bus, the train, and then went to the clinic in Korea. Remember, this is early 1970s. This is very different. We didn't have insurance. And the guy said, you need to have surgery. It's like you got pus coming out of the eye. You need to have surgery. I was 7 years old, so we gave him everything we had. And the guy said, oh, no, that's not enough. You need to come back later. So we actually took the train and the bus back, and then we on the way back home in the dark. I told my mom, who had no ounce of hope, just like that lady, I'm going to be an eye doctor to fix your eye problem. And she said, that's like catching a star in the sky. I think I talked to one of the doctors today. How difficult is it to become a doctor here in Vietnam? It's difficult. It's very difficult, especially a single mom with no income, and you live in a rural area. Just imagine the miracles and angels that helped me along the way for me to get to this point today. Just imagine just for a second, okay? So, and then her last words was, don't forget why you became an eye doctor. And she passed away early on. So, and she says, make sure you give people hope. So we unpacked and we did surgery on this patient at that time in Romania. But the thing is, remember, she had no hair. But the thing is, I actually grew up working at a wig shop. I don't know if you guys know about this. I worked in a wig. I actually know more about wigs than eyeballs, believe it or not. Okay, so I worked. I know. I could look at somebody and I could tell you what hair would look good. I could style it in seconds. Probably less than you could do cataract surgery. I could style it. You understand? So here's me, like with the hairstyle. I could turn into a woman if I wanted to. Okay, I could go to Thailand. I could do a show. Okay. So this girl right here, we found the wig that was donated in our box. We take our donation boxes to Romania. We just happened to find the wig. But the problem about the wig is that it has to be the right color and size. And the style has to be perfect for someone to wear that wig. You can't just put on a wig. So I was telling her, having that patient, just imagine this just for a second, in Botoșani, Romania, there is no wig shop. There is no ophthalmologist. There's no pediatric ophthalmologist. For this person to have eye surgery and a wig was like winning a lottery. You understand? This is like all the stars had to line up perfectly, for things to. And then this was someone without hope, and this is like the next day. Imagine that. This is like the very next day. Okay. So anyway, and the letter basically said, I want to be someone like you, helping others, following your footsteps. That's what she was saying. So I want to tell you, this like the point I was trying to make. Almost time's up. So this story, this letter, really inspired me. It really inspired me, and so I'm going to just tell you, there are 4 things that I do. Everything I do goes back to these 4 things. So number 1 is that I am constantly inspired. For example, me being here today and talking to all of you, I'm inspired. You have been truly inspirational in so many ways. I know life is not easy. I was actually finding out how difficult it is being a doctor here in Vietnam. And so, but I see so many people just wanting to help the patients. And when I see the doctors bring me these most difficult cases, and that takes so much effort and time to help those people, to make $5. I was like, are you kidding me? I was like just trying to imagine the amount of effort and time and education you had to put in to help that patient. It was amazing. It's inspirational to me. Okay? So I get inspired. Number 2 is that through that inspiration, I innovate. I try to find ways that I can overcome and make things better by inventing things or finding different ways of doing things. If something is not working, don't do the same thing over and over and over and expect a different result. You understand? So I'm a golfer, and so I'm going to just tell you, I don't know if you mean too many golfers, but remember I said this, okay? Golfers, the one thing about golfers is that there would be a big tree in the middle of the fairway, and they would have this idea that they're going to slice the ball or they're going to hit over the tree or whatever to get to the green. But they don't have that skill. So they do the exact same swing expecting a different result and hit the tree and they curse. And they get so mad at the tree. No, the tree is not the problem. You're the problem. You understand? So you have to change. You have to innovate. You need to learn to be adaptable. Okay? I think this is very, very important. And then, once you adapt, implement it. Don't just have it in your head. You have to follow through. Follow through. And then, you have to pay it forward. Because remember, you cannot inspire yourself. That's one thing you cannot do. You cannot It doesn't matter how great you are. Whether you are, I'm not going to mention any politicians. It don't matter how smart you are, how, brilliant you are. I don't really care who you are. You're not going to inspire yourself. You're always inspired by someone else. So you have to pay it forward. Okay? So if you just do this right here, I think truly, you're going to have an amazing life. Now, staying inspired is like your oil. And flame is your why, is your passion. Okay? Mother Teresa said to keep the lamp burning, you have to keep pouring oil into it. So people have this flame, but they don't do the work of putting the oil in. Of course the flame's going to go out. So please think about that. Please think about that. And it's like a circle of life. You have to be inspired, and then you have to pay it forward. And so, source of information. One last thing I want to tell you. A source of inspiration, it's usually not that far. Like, hopefully, this talk was inspirational to you. And tomorrow, hopefully, there's someone else that's going to inspire you in your clinic, or your friends, your family, or it could be anybody. They're right next to you. And one last thing I want to say is that I wrote this book. It's called Catching a Star. It's on Amazon. You could get this book. I make no money. By the way, everything I do, I give it back because I've truly received so much in my life. I've been blessed. My mother, who passed away. So this is what she said the day before she passed away. I was so stupid that when I was in such a hard, difficult part of my life where I just wanted to end it, I realized that God gave me 2 angels and they were right in front of me. I just didn't see it. And now I'm ready to die. Now I see it. I don't know why I didn't see it. So I'm going to tell you, that is something that I think about all the time. All the time. Your source of inspiration is right there in front of you. I promise you. That I could promise you. Okay? Because that's been the case for me all along. I thought it would be somewhere like, I thought I had to go and meet Donald Trump. I'm kidding. I thought I had to go meet, someone great. Okay? No. I promise you. They're not that far. They're just right there. And it all starts with inspiration. Thank you very much. I hope you have a great day. Any questions? You guys don't ask a lot of questions. But when I'm doing surgeries and stuff, you guys ask so many questions. Yes.
Thank you so much for your story.
Yeah, thank you.
I don't have a question for
Yeah.
you, but I just had some comments. For me, I am deeply impressed by your story. You're coming here, you take us not only from IDZ, how to make diagnosis, how to do surgery, but the most important thing, you had to taught us how to live, how we can live, and what is the meaning of the living. That's very, very important. And you told us your true story. With child, with a single mom, with no money, your mom could not be treated at that time because no money. And you wanted to be a doctor, eye doctor, and now you are very good eye doctor. You not work only for in the United States. And all of us know that United States is the best place to work and to learn. You go all around the world to support the poor. The people now they are in the 21st century, but they are even worse than you are, you was in the first 70 years, last century, the 20th century. Yeah, so I think that's the most important thing I think you learn from you today. And from true story, not from the book, from your life. So thank you very much for sharing us. And here we have some very young doctor. They are resident and some young trainee. And not only trainee, but for me. May I have a personal questions? How old are you?
How am I?
How old are you?
Oh, you know, I'm 56.
56.
Yes.
Same my age.
Oh, so great.
So, thank you very much.
Yeah, thank you.
And you know, so normally for the people with the same age, I think the same feeling, and I think the same way of thinking. So you can say, so we already, oh, we are the same age.